Madam Speaker, the Honourable Prime Minister, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Members of Parliament. I rise to respond and wish to thank His Excellency the President of the Republic of Fiji, Sir Ratu Epeli-Nelitikau, for his most gracious speech in his August House on Monday, the 14th September 2015. I thank His Excellency the President for his consistent, unwavering faith that this nation of ours can offer the best that it can to her citizens and other nationalities that call Fiji home. I wish to respectfully applaud His Excellency for his instrumental advocating on realistic and effective issues to our youth and the nation as a whole. Madam Speaker, when His Excellency was the Commander of the Republic of Fiji Military Forces, I was indeed privileged to have served under his headship of the RFMF as a young naval officer. His Excellency held the respect of the institution for his leadership ethics and commanded the reverence of his soldiers. That quality, and I believe most, if not all, in this August Parliament agrees, has developed and evidently spread, winning the loyal admiration and respect of the Fijian people, and also by our regional and international partners. Madam Speaker, I am deeply appalled by recent reports in newspapers and social media of degrading comments by the honourable member on the other side of the House criticizing constitutional provision of the RMF, comparing it to, and I quote, entrusting Count Regula with the security of the blood bank. This in response to the prestigious address of the most prominent office of His Excellency the President. How can one tolerate such degrading comments? I believe the honourable member responsible was part of the group who drafted the deed of sovereignty, which was aimed at consolidating the removal of the elected Chaudhary government and forming an alternative government other than one under the then 1997 Constitution. This demonstrates hypocrisy and selective adherence to the principle of democracy. For some, democracy is only good if they win government. If they don't, then they are quite willing to disregard the will of the Fijian people. Madam Speaker, I respectfully call on the honourable member to formally apologize to both the office of the President and to the Commander RFMF for such blatant, open mockery and for his show of total disrespect. Madam Speaker, His Excellency the President, in his speech to open this session of Parliament, expressed his adamant disdain for attempts by a small minority to set up an alternative state, a so-called Christian state. Such an attempt by anyone, I reiterate, must not be tolerated and must not be condoned under any circumstances. Madam Speaker, I respectfully concur with His Excellency in calling on all Fijians to rally to the defense of the democratic process and the right of every Fijian to practice their rights. And as the Minister assigned the responsibility of the Fiji Police Force and the Republic of Fiji Military Forces, assure this August House of the interoperation and support of both forces to ensuring that those who want to destroy democracy and impose their will on others will be brought to justice. Madam Speaker, as I recently stated in my ministerial speech on national security agenda, the Ministry remains adamantly focused on upholding the rule of law, ensuring that Fiji has a stable national security growth and stance. I stand in unison with His Excellency stated that as the Commander-in-Chief of the RFMF, His Excellency believes that the RFMF must, wherever and whenever required, support the police, bring to justice those who want to destroy democracy and impose their will on others. Madam Speaker, I respectfully acknowledge the Honourable Prime Minister and Chair of the National Security and Defence Council reliance on me to carry out my assigned responsibility as Minister of Defence, National Security and Immigration. Honourable Prime Minister, trust has guided the Ministry to where it is today. Throughout the many security and defence challenges faced since my appointment. Madam Speaker, I wish to refer to the Honourable Leader of Opposition's speech yesterday when she attempted to critique the one person, one vote, one value concept. The Honourable Leader of Opposition obviously misinterprets that one person, one vote, one value was primarily for the party. The members who then represent the party in Parliament is selected by starting from the member who has won the most votes in that party. So, for example, if the Leader of Opposition resigns from SODELFA, it will not mean she takes her vote with her. The votes stay with SODELFA. The next person on the list will take her seat, and the percentage of votes that SODELFA has received and the resultant percentage of seats it holds in Parliament will remain the same. Madam Speaker, I wish to also congratulate the Honourable Prime Minister, Steership, and the Honourable Attorney General and Minister for Finance management of the active state of the nation's economy and consistent positive growth. This achievement was not through magic, but through a comprehensive platform and sheer hard work that driven our unfailing progress since 2007. Fiji's solid and sound internal security environment is a noticeable contributing factor in luring investment finances and providing a dependable economy exchange location. Madam Speaker, the national security landscape and the global security environment are dynamic and constantly changing. We have seen dynamic changes and developments in the past years overseas, in the region, and locally. With a diverse range of threats, I reiterate, as I did during my maiden parliamentary speech, that our national security sector needs to be agile, flexible, and adaptable to confront and overcome whatever threats, internal or external, may come our way. Madam Speaker, this is validation to this August Parliament that the concern expressed by another honourable member regarding civilian leadership in government in her speech yesterday are unfounded. The government has ensured that civilian leadership in government is respected, and the RFF's role is clear as a non-political institute, as provided under Section 131 of the 2013 Constitution. Madam Speaker, security is the platform of development. Therefore, the maintaining of internal stability and meeting our internal security and defense obligation will be the overarching requirements for the provision of safety and security moving forward. It is uplifting to note that our security force efforts have relatively controlled transnational crime in the nation and the region. This is evident by the numerous successful joint operations on drug trafficking and money laundering related attempts and or undertaking with foreign, international and regional security partners. I state this in response to an honourable member of the opposition speech on Monday, alleging, and I quote, "Government does not have any proper measures to prevent or cure this problem." He seems to be on the negativity all the time. Yet the honourable member has failed to provide a shred of evidence to back his allegation. Madam Speaker, the successful joint operation conducted demonstrated government does indeed have control measures in place to deal with such problems. Madam Speaker, in the past year, there have been numerous incidents that have shocked the nation and raised new security concerns. The surge in suicide may not seem to be a security issue, but it affects the people's sense of well-being. Fiji does not have a high suicide rate compared to other nations. But as Fijians, we understand that every suicide is a tragedy for family, for community, and for the nation. Where alienation, isolation, social pressure, or mental disorder lead to suicide, we must act to try to close those pathways. This is particularly true for our young, who sometimes become, because of social media and the internet, romanticize suicide, and who lack the perspective on the seriousness of a problem or disappointment that comes with years of living and learning. Neglect or abuse in the home can be a factor in suicide, as can indifference, and they all make the sense of security that our young people feel a factor in our overall security and sense of well-being. There are many other things that may make people feel vulnerable and hopeless, and we Fijians must join together to help our neighbors. We can begin begin as parliamentarian, taking leadership role in confronting a difficult and frightening phenomenon with honesty and courage to find a remedy on the social ill. Madam Speaker, we like to repeat the saying, our youth are our leaders of tomorrow, so how can we not also protect our children and youth, the most vulnerable and impressionable Fijians, against exploitation and vices that confront them in modern society? We witness numerous examples, overseas and even locally, intentional crimes like human trafficking and drug trafficking through our borders. These crimes often involve people under the age of 30, including Fijians. We must also be vigilant to prevent the recruitment of impressionable and naive youth to fight for extreme ideologies. This is all work for government, community, family, and faith institutions to work together. Madam Speaker, these are unique security-related issues that change the paradigm of how we defend our nation and the Fijian people. And there are more. The Internet is a double-edged sword that provides effortless access to valuable information, but also can be manipulated to lure the unwary towards pornography and sexual exploitation and imitate the malign innocent people through anonymous attacks on social media. And of course, young people are especially vulnerable. This is why, Madam Speaker, we must all, including political parties, your supporters, must use social media, including blogs, responsibly. Unfortunately, we find so much abuse in it. Misinformation, defamation, slander, and vilification peddled by these bloggers and Facebook users about individuals, our economy, our national security situation, about different ethnic and religious groups. Such a great tool for communication and dissemination of information is being abused, and I must say, by those who are against the government and are unpatriotic Fijians or former Fijians. Madam Speaker, His Excellency made a point in visiting almost every school in Fiji, and he heard voices of our future leaders wanting a united Fiji to focus on establishing opportunities for their future that deserve hope for our children, for our Fiji. Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Defense, National Security and Immigration aims to campaign for this hope by broadening the recruitment of the Fiji Police Force and the RFPF to provide attractive careers in military and law enforcement to ensure that our instruments of national security reflect the character of our nation and its people. Both forces have recently seen an increase in the recruitment of both young men and women, which shows the growing ability of the institution to build young, vibrant, and representative forces. Madam Speaker, a major factor in relation to youth nurturing is good parenting and the encouragement of positive civic values in our youth. This cannot be dismissed as unimportant because good parenting leads to healthy societal attitudes, less alienation, and greater security. Madam Speaker, the role of a woman in society is a vital component not only to ensure the proper nurturing of our younger generation, but also to build the foundation of our security. It has been encouraging to see a number of accomplished and dynamic Fijian women who have taken the leadership role, from the Honourable Speaker to the August Parliament, to the Honourable Ministers and Assistant Ministers, the Leader of Opposition, Honourable Members of Parliament, the Secretary General of Parliament, the Secretary to Cabinet, and the Deputy Secretary General to Parliament, ambassadors and head of mission to women in business and in the profession and other roles all over Fiji. Madam Speaker, as I said earlier, women play a prominent role in the security of this nation. But unfortunately, progress in recognizing this fact has been somewhat gradual. In July 2010, the United Nations General Assembly created UN Women, the United Nations entity for promoting gender equality and the empowerment of women. As a UN member state, Fiji is proudly participating in the historic efforts to accelerate the UN's goal on gender equality and the empowerment of women, as spearheaded by Honourable Minister for Women. Madam Speaker, the Ministry, along with assigned departmental institute in the police, RFF, and immigration, currently sees the role of women as increasing further to position of leadership and decision-making. Madam Speaker, for example, for the first time, there has been a mass recruitment of over 200 young women into the male-dominated RFMF. This recruitment drive has been the RFMF's part of Fiji's commitment to the UN's step and standard of enhancing women's role in the national security. Furthermore, the RFMF deployment to UN missions provide for specialist roles that require women to serve exclusively. And this raises the important point. We need women in the RFMF and law enforcement, not just to tick some box for the United Nations, but because military institutions and police force are more diverse and more effective. They serve their citizens better, they are more flexible in responding to different kinds of challenges, and they benefit from the perspective and experiences that the gender brings to the job. Madam Speaker, I would like to express government's and my personal appreciation to the serving members of the police and the RFMF on overseas deployment. The various heads of mission and force commanders have had nothing but praise towards the professional service of our commanding officers and personnel. And I'm deeply proud and thankful for their performance. Madam Speaker, during my recent visit to the troops and police officers serving in the Middle East and Northeast Africa, I witnessed firsthand the welfare status and, of course, the deteriorating security situation that our men and women face. Madam Speaker, the most recent reports of our soldiers in the MFO indirectly injured by combative explosion device and bullets, be it stray or otherwise, are evidence of the dangers that our deployed nationals face in our quest in contributing to world peace. While their service is upheld and increasing and morale apparently remaining high despite the incidents, I urge all Fijians in unity of prayers towards our deployed soldiers and police officers and their loved ones at home, especially the 3 injured whom we have received confirmed reports of their comforting and safe, steady recovery. I believe the rest of our term in Parliament will be challenging yet rewarding due to the great things we can achieve together. Madam Speaker, it is my earnest request that we as honourable members of this August Parliament deliberate more prudently and seriously on issues in an objective and selfless manner. I believe, Madam Speaker, that we must heed His Excellency the President's call to the honourable members of this House to rise above the party politics, rise above the petty personal issues, and make our term count. All our term counts. Madam Speaker, I wish to conclude to pay enormous and heartfelt tribute to His Excellency the President of the Republic of Fiji for his selfless, exemplary service to the country and his steadfast throughout the many security challenges and sensitive that our beloved nation encountered during his tenure as head of state. His Excellency, wise advice and knowledgeable counsel has guided not only our head of government, but have been heeded and respected by the Fijian people and by international leaders, both in our neighborhood and far away. His Excellency's record of service as former commander of the RFMF, ambassador, and seasoned diplomats, permanent secretary, speaker of the House of Representatives, and honorable minister speaks volumes of his governance patriotism and how greatly prosperous and blessed Fiji has been to have His Excellency as our head of state. His Excellency possesses an elevated status traditionally and through his civilian appointment, but exerts this in a modest and human manner that is all the more worthy of respect from all Fijians. I humbly convey my personal and enormous gratitude, prayers, and best wishes to His Excellency, Madam First Lady, and the First Family. May God bless His Excellency. May God bless us all. May God bless Fiji. Shukriya, Dhanyabad. Thank you.